Well, hey buddy, here. Welcome to another edition of Thursday's Thought. Continuing in the series, The Doggone Truth. Yes, I have all your toys right here, buddy, trying to distract you. Come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. With my co-host, the star of the show, Buck. Yeah, look at him. Come on, buddy. You're so cute. Let the world see you. All right. Anyway, we have, oh, you smell that, huh? Hold on, buddy. Hold on. Oh, Lord. Well, got a nose on him, huh? Anyway, continuing the series, The Doggone Truth. You know, he's new to me and I'm new to him. Last November, rescued him from the backwoods of Kentucky, or he rescued me. But been a learning experience, and I just started this feeling that God has brought things to my light while training him or him training me, and figured I would share them with anybody who actually logs on and actually sees these videos. Actually, I was winding the series up. I had maybe like one or two more, but just the other day another one came to me. Actually, I was already thinking of the next series that I may have planned. That one should be pretty good too. I have some interesting things I think to share with that. But this little buddy has been teaching me a lot. But just the other day, you know, I'm trying to house train him, and I'm trying to keep my house somewhat clean and organized. So I need to have him, especially whenever I take him to get his, that's for the most part, when I take him to get checked by the vet and stuff, I want him to smell good so I look like a good father, you know. But the other day we were playing around and stuff like that, and since the accident, my sense of smell does not work that great. They're actually surprised I could taste food. But I actually, if it's really strong, I could smell it just a little bit. And I smelled him and I was like, buddy, it might be about time for, I probably just need to schedule it like maybe every week or whatever. But I guess it may have been a little longer than that. And I was playing with him and I smelled, and I was like, hey, you must be starting to get a little ripe if I could smell you. And so I was like, okay, buddy, well, you know, he doesn't really like baths. Yes, I got one more for you, but not that, that's a knife. This is your bone. But, so I said, okay, man, you know, he isn't really a fan of bathing anyway, you know, but it's gotten better. So we're playing around, and I look at him and I say, man, let me go ahead and give you a bath. Stay here. So I go into the bathroom and I start running the water. I come back out, and he was laying on the bed like a good little boy, cute, adorable little fella he is. And I came back out after turning the water on and making sure it's not too cold, not too hot, all that good stuff. Just right, Goldilocks. But I came out and he was gone. So I came in this room and I said, hey, Buck, I'm calling him out, Buck, trying to, I guess this was wrong, me trying to deceive him, I guess. I probably would give him a treat anyway, but I was like, oh, come get a treat, hoping he'd come out. Couldn't find him, so then I walk around looking. I go back in my room, and I look, and the picture you see I posted before this, his legs were sticking out the bottom of the bed. He crawled underneath the bed to hide. And I was just like, wow. So I was like, man, I just want to clean you, buddy. So I had to wrestle him a little bit and get him in the bathtub to clean him. But immediately, it just came to mind is that people in general, and even maybe more so Christians, we're not real sometimes. We try to act like everything's good, and we got it all together. The fruits of the Spirit, you know, temptation, we got it. We don't even struggle with anything. But I was just like, wow, we're just like that. Like, and that's the title of this this one, the dirty dog under your bed. We all have our struggles, and you know, even the Word of God says many different things about that. We can see the different stories that we're going to go through today. That we just need to be real with it and say, hey, we do struggle with this. Stay on guard, of course, but also bring our struggles to God and the Holy Spirit and pray that He strengthen us and make us aware, so when we see these things in our lives or making themselves to tempt us or whatever it may be, we don't treat it like a teddy bear. We don't cuddle with it and like, play with fire type thing, but more like a rattlesnake, and we stay as far away from it as we can. When we hear that rattle, it doesn't mean come closer. It means flee, be gone, seek God, follow your knees and pray. But I just found it, very interesting that God gave me another one and related it to him hiding his little dirty self under my bed. Now, aren't you a lot happier that you're clean and your ears are clean? I really don't know, because as soon as I took him out for a walk, he smelled where some ducks were, I guess, and maybe it's his camouflage, I don't know, but he decided to roll down in it, and I had to pick him up and wipe him off and all that stuff. But a few scriptures that when I was, doing a little bit of study and looking at some different things, that kind of popped to my attention. And of course, most of us know the story of David, how he's the man after God's own heart, and I always say, oh man, if he is, he had like 200 wives and all this stuff. And but first off, when he was first anointed to be king, which was, we see in 1 Samuel, and just one of the scriptures I want to read was 1 Samuel 16:7. And then it says, but the Lord, Samuel, do not look at his appearance, nor his height of stature, because I have rejected him. For God sees not as man sees. For man sees at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And it was just amazing how initially, in the very beginning of him being, when Samuel came out and was going to anoint the new king of Israel, he went to David's father's house, Jesse, and saw his brothers, and they were, warriors. They were in the war when David went out there and killed Goliath and everything like that, and they're head and shoulders above David. And David's dad didn't even bring David out. He was out in the field, taking care of all the sheep and stuff like that. Buddy, come here. Buck, listen, you're on TV. Hey, buddy, lay down, dude. Dang, look at this. This is fun. But because Samuel saw David's brothers and was like, oh man, look at him. He's definitely, he looks like he could be a warrior. He's the king, God was like, no. And to the point where Samuel said, is this all your sons? Is there anybody else? And Jesse was like, well, I got one little fella out in the field, with some sheep. And he ended up being the one that was anointed by Samuel, God's choice. But then we see, even through that, first off, God judged the heart of David and didn't look at the outward appearance. But then we know the story how David, normally the kings would go to war with their troops. They'd be protected in the back, but they would still be there. And David didn't go this time. They're all at war. David's, up on his palace rooftop, walking around, doing whatever he was doing. And then he looks over and he sees this beautiful lady bathing on her rooftop, naked, and everything like that. And it wasn't like the temptation isn't the sin. It's not that look and you see, them walk by, like even in the gym. You don't have to have an imagination nowadays. In a gym, you see women walk by, and most of the time they're wearing things that pronounce the good parts of their body and hide the parts they're struggling with. But that first walk, they walk by, the first look, you notice them, that's not the sin. That's where the devil tries to tempt you. But it's that second look and the thinking, that looks good. And that's what David did. He said, oh, dang, she looks nice. And he kept looking and began to lust about her. And then we know that he had her come to the palace. He slept with her, got her pregnant. And he tried to kill her husband by putting him on the front lines while he did have him killed. And then God sends Nathan. And Nathan is talking to David and says, hey man, tells him a story about a guy who has all these sheep, but his neighbor only had one, but he takes his neighbor's one sheep and kills him and eats him, serves him to him and a friend for a party or whatever. David's like, oh no, that's wrong. Well, he pointed out, he said, David, that man is you. And so God revealed that sin, even though David tried his best to hide it. Had the girl's husband killed, then hurry up and married her, and acted like, oh yeah, she got pregnant, when we got married. I guess they weren't counting the months back then. I don't know. They didn't have Judge Judy to do the DNA test and all that. But God exposed that. And then when even the things that we think we're so good at hiding or we justify, like I said, the women in the gym or out at the beach or wherever it may be, not even just lust. Lust itself, yes, is a sin. But when we look at Matthew 5:21 through 22, at first off, it says, you have heard it said to the older generation, do not murder. And whoever murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you, and this is Jesus saying, I tell you, anyone who is angry with his brother will be subject to judgment. It starts here too, just like the lust that we see in verse 28 in Matthew in Matthew 5. It also says, but I say to you, anyone who looks on a woman with lust for her has already committed adultery. So it doesn't have to be the actual act. God sees the mind. If you're sinning in your mind, you're sinning in your heart and your soul, you're not just in God's sight. So we just need to be on guard about that, but we just have to know that God can expose it to people, whoever it may be. But even if he doesn't expose it, God sees it. And we can't judge. What are you doing, buddy? Come here. We can't justify and say, it was just, I just, did this, did that. I went and I talked to this person, I flirted with her a little bit. She's married, I'm married, all that kind of stuff. You're not pure in God's sight. But then, and even past that, if you still think it's a secret, in Ecclesiastes 12:14, it lets us know, for God will bring I think that's supposed to, yes. God will bring evil deeds to judgment, the things that are seen and not seen. I can't read my handwriting, but just letting us know that we're not getting away with anything, and we can try to cover it under the bed, but eventually it's going to come to light, whether it be the smell or even if it doesn't come to light in this life, God knows, and just like lying, it's going to lead to another sin, another sin, another sin. And God may expose it because he wants to take care of it. And wants you not to deal with that and be condemned or have issues in this life. The desires of being angrier and, end up with assault charges or being covetous, and envious of people, end up getting involved in underhanded deals or stealing to get more income or anything like that, or lusting, and then that lust ends up being turning into some type of sexual sin, adultery or something like that, and it can just lead into a domino effect for the bad. But anyway, once again, I thank you for listening, and hopefully this makes you think a little bit, because we all deal with things. I deal probably more with of course I'm a man, I love women are beautiful, but even more probably with my temper sometimes. It's gotten a lot better, but even if I don't act on it, I have a very vivid imagination. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing good. Just think about this. That's why it's called Thursday's Thought. Take it to God in prayer and help him to reveal things that maybe you need to work on and you need to be more on guard about. But I do pray you guys are doing well, and please keep me in your prayers. Life has its struggles, but I am blessed. Anyway, that is it for this week's Thursday's Thoughts in this series, The Doggone Truth. You weren't that bad today, buddy. You were actually minding your own business and stuff. But we will see you next week for probably maybe 2 more editions of The Doggone Truth for Thursday's Thoughts, and then we might switch it up. Huh, buddy? Or you want to be on the show forever? We'll work you in. We will work you in. Say goodbye to everybody, buddy. Say goodbye to everybody. It's your camera time.